Good morning, everybody. Today is, I don't even know what today's date is. What is September 16th. This is our periodic, whether it's monthly or every 6 week, clients only call. I am Chris Shafullo, National Coordinating Council of FFLGuard. Hit OK here. Joining me today is the dressed for heading on the road today, brother Brian, down in Florida, the well-dressed, wonderfully backdropped Avis Lindler down in South Carolina. I can't tell how you're dressed, Michelle, but I'm sure it's wonderfully. You're down in, where are you? Where are you exactly? Which Carolina? North?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Okay. The not perennially, the usually underdressed Michael Franzak coming from down in Delaware, the dressed up and looking wonderful. That's how we should all be dressing, Alexis, like professionals over on this call from Texas. By the way, I'm coming there. I'm dressed down because I'm in, getting ready to travel mode, but they say it's hotter than hell down there. Is it hot down in Texas this week?
I mean, well, it depends on what part you're in, but I think it was
Dallas.
about 100. Probably be a little upper 90s, I'd say.
That's what they said. It was upper 90s and sunny all week. So
Absolutely.
I'll be getting myself ready for that. Last but not least, on our side of the ball here is Mike Bouchard, aka iPhone Mike. He's in an airport somewhere. Mike, glad to have you, and we'll get to you accordingly. Summer's over, and we are not far away from the election. If the guy doesn't get shot, which every week apparently they're trying to kill Trump, so who knows? But things will probably start picking up a tad. That reminds me, where is Hank? Somebody want to shoot him a text on the side and see if he's around. But
Hank or Trent this week, didn't hear from him.
Yeah, Hank's a pretty standard, but things should be ramping up a little bit. I hope that everybody was able to have a somewhat prosperous summer. Summer is never really the most prosperous for sales, but it is for sort of catching up and getting things in order. Particularly your inventories and other stuff like that. It's the end of the government's fiscal year on September 30th. So that means a couple of things. Either they're going to be trying to get their last inspections in, or you're not going to hear from them at all because they don't have any money left in the budget to do anything until October 1st. That also means there's a potential for a government shutdown, and based on the contentiousness and divisiveness that exists in our world today, I would not be surprised one bit if there was a shutdown. Either way, I'm telling you this because many of you don't know that the fiscal year for the government ends on September 30. Other than that, I can't say as though we have had a super busy last month. Mike, I think this is the first few weeks we've had where we weren't really on the road. I mean, when was the last time we were at a hearing? It's been a few weeks at least.
Mm-hmm.
Probably out west. Probably Seattle was our last go around, and we'll be in Dallas tomorrow. So we're picking right up where we left off. But I'm happy to start with you, Mr. Franzi, because you're always good for having your punch list ready. Hitting us with all things
first.
Oh, you want different Mike?
Yeah, let's start with him first. I think I may piggyback off of something he says.
iPhone Mike, can you hear us? Come in, iPhone Mike.
Well, good morning from Denver Airport. Just a couple things because I'm in a noisy airport. I was up at ATF last week. I had the occasion to speak at the 9/11 memorial, and they're dealing with a lot of things like other law enforcement, cancers and deaths related. But we also did talk with the director and his executive staff. They're dealing with the budget cuts and also preparing for a continuing resolution. And they're still hiring, but at a reduced rate. So they're just trying to make cuts wherever they can. And Pending any questions, that's all I've got.
Were you able to get anybody's ear on the side and
Yeah,
whisper?
I spoke with Mariana and also Matt Briscoe briefly, but yeah, just Mariana, some of the industry ops issues.
Good, good. Keep those channels open for us. They're always effective means of helping us when we need it. Michael Franzak, are you going to piggyback off of anything he said there?
Yep, I'm going to go off with as Mike mentioned, and you mentioned, Chris, this is the end of the federal government's fiscal year coming up. ATF is strapped for money, as we know, when the Appropriations Committee took a lot of money away from them. So they were busy this whole year finagling, shifting money around, robbing Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, within their own budget. So there's probably very little money for overnight travel now. So if you're out there, we're not close to an ATF office, you should be good right now. And now, again, also come October 1, if there is no federal budget passed, which I doubt, and I'm doubtful now too, unless Mike heard otherwise, about a government continuing resolution, that means that the government has no money. So where does that, I don't know if everybody knows this or not, the ATF IOIs, ATF special agents, are deemed essential employees, which means they still have to work. They don't get paid. Congress does, but all the federal government who are essential employees have to work. They don't get paid until that continuing resolution or budget is passed. So again, if you're out there in an area where it's going to require ATF to be overnight travel to get to your business to do an inspection, you probably will not see them. And here's what may happen with you right now. If ATF has started an inspection and they're doing 4473 review, whatever, they might be emailing you a lot saying, hey, can you email me these forms, this form, that form? I need to see this, I need to see that. That's up to you if you want to email them a lot of documents or wait for them to come back and do their job at your place of business like they should do. That's going to be your call as a business, because they may be doing that a lot in this budget crunch at the end of the year, and then come in a couple of weeks, beginning of October. So I just want you to be aware that if you've already had an inspection started and they say, hey, I'm not going to be back out here, especially if they're on per diem and they leave and you haven't heard for a week, they may be contacting you to say, can you send me these forms, this form, whatever. So it's going to be your call to decide if you want to send them download a bunch of stuff and send it to them or not. So, and you can talk to us first before that happens too, and we'll be glad to address it at each individual inspection, how that goes. But I just want to make you aware of that also. So, and a few things to share with everybody, things that have come up. I try to base a lot of stuff on what we've been seeing here at FFLGuard, questions coming in from everybody, issues. We've had some good ones over the last couple months. One that I think we've mentioned this before, but I want to bring it up because it just happened. I think it was a week or two. If somebody presents you with a medical marijuana card, you cannot sell them a firearm. Remember, it's still prohibiting federally. You cannot, you might be allowed within your state to use it, but you can, if federally, it's still prohibiting. That would be a yes answer in item 21. So do not sell a firearm to somebody who presents you with a medical marijuana card. And they probably should go on your list, if you keep a list of people not to sell firearms to, is that person also. So just keep that one in mind. Corporate sales, 4473. If you have somebody come in, a business, and who wants to acquire, like a security guard company, say, they come to you and they want to acquire 15, 20, 30 guns. They fall under the corporate sale. So on your 4473, there's a section in there. And section B on page, I think I'm going to look at it right now, page 4, section B, the second paragraph of section B discusses corporate sales, how to handle that. And there's a document that FFLGuard has, and it's called Affidavit of Purchase of Firearms on Behalf of an Entity. And an individual fills that out, and it's a list of guns that gets put on this sheet. We can send that to you. I think that's a question in the help desk too, Brian, isn't it? Possibly. Okay. But anybody who has somebody come in for a corporate sale, again, it spells it out specifically right on the 4473, page 4, section B, second paragraph talks about it right on the form. And we have a form that you'll be able to download and then complete when that individual comes in on behalf of that corporate entity to buy whatever, how many firearms they want. It could be 2, who knows, it could be 1, but just to let you know. Also, the inspections they were picking up a lot at the end of the fiscal year for ATF. Quarterly inventory. When I keep mentioning this, quarterly inventory. Do your inventories. Don't think that your inventory is accurate. Even if you have electronic records, don't think it's accurate. You still got to do those inventories and make sure that's the bread and butter of any firearms business. The forms, 4473, and your inventory. That all ties in. And again, that's one of the ones that it's not one of the deadly sins, Biden deadly sins, but ATF will revoke if you have a pattern, continuously have a pattern of missing firearms. We've seen it before. But if you have a continuous pattern of missing guns, ATF will revoke for that. So make sure that inventory is accurate. ATF Final Rule 41 talked about trust. So I'm keeping on that corporate pattern here. But that final rule, 41F, also not just trust, but again, it pertains to partnerships, associations, and companies. So the same thing for NFA weapons applies for trust, also applies for those entities. So anybody coming in, partnership, corporation, whatever, has to, again, the same as a trust. Each person who's involved in that business, members, whatever, corporate members, have to complete the responsible person questionnaire. And then when they come, that gets everybody, whoever gets passed, that form comes back, say to form 4, you verify whoever coming in had that background check completed. So it's just not for trust, it's for other entities too, like partnerships, corporations, companies, LLCs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So keep that in mind. One more thing we had, I just want to touch base on, is we had a very good question came in from one of our manufacturers regarding the receipt of firearms from law enforcement for destruction. It was an excellent question, and we're going to put this. I think we've got the information. We got to put it in the library eventually, but basically, that can be done. And these would be any kind of firearms that law enforcement, a PD, state police, whoever it is, sheriff's department get. It could be, you could have sawed-off shotguns. You could have firearms with obliterated serial numbers, scratched off serial numbers, whatever missing. It could be anything. And any FFL can take those firearms in legally as long as there's a legitimate contract that you have, at FFL has, with that law enforcement entity. So you got to come into a contract, and there's a bunch of information that has to be available and written on that contract, such as a list of each firearm, make, model, serial number, if any, and then that information has to be put into your A&D book when those guns are received. And you're going to, of course, it doesn't have a serial number. You could put NSN, obliterated, whatever, but you have to put it in your book, received from whatever police department, and you would have to keep records of that destruction, pictures, whatever, showing it destroyed, and keep that, the date, have a date on it, how you destroyed it, so forth. That way, if ATF ever comes in and I don't know why they would look at it, but it's a possibility because you're getting it from the police department. But just keep a record of that destruction too. So we'll get all that in the library too. That way, if anybody wants to destroy firearms on behalf of police departments, sheriff's office, whatever, you'll have that ability also to do that. So That's it for me today.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. Can I?
Brother Brian,
pass
since
off
you're
a
going to be
mic there?
heading, yep, you're heading on the road. What do you got? What do you got?
The one thing I definitely want to jump into, and if you've been on the webinars before, and it's sometimes a running joke, is Mike's not kidding when he's talking about inventory. You have to have your inventory done. If I come on a site visit and I sit down with you guys, one of the first questions I'm going to ask you is, when was the last time you did an inventory? You know, and the worst thing I could hear is,
1978.
well, we're fairly confident that everything that's supposed to be here is under this roof. Well, there's a big difference between fairly confident and actually knowing what's under your roof. Because as soon as ATF walks in to do an inspection, the first thing they're going to do is ask you for your open items so they can do an inventory. And if they find missing firearms, it's a hell of a lot worse than you finding missing firearms and filing a theft loss report. So you have to stay on top of your inventory. FFLGuard recommends that you do quarterly inventories. And I know, oh, it takes up so much time. Oh, we don't, have enough staff. I mean, you name it. I've heard it. This is what I do for a living. Do your inventory. That's all I have to say. Do your inventory. It's that easy. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the faster you'll get it over with.
And when ATF does their inventory, what standard are they going by?
Right.
The Mona Lisa Vito for my cousin Vinny, dead on balls accurate inventory status.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to have your inventory done before they get there than do it with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A couple of things that I just want to go through. So I've been on the road heavy since recovering. Well, I don't even, since recovering from my illness, our last webinar. I have been all up and down. I mean, I've been to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I've been to Rock Hill, South Carolina. I've been to Houston. I've been to Seattle. I've been to Memphis. I've been to Nashville. You name it, I've been all over. Again, if you are a corporate client or an executive client, you get a free visit from me every year. If you like one, you would just pay for my expenses to come out there. You don't get charged any time. So if you're on a corporate or an executive plan with FFLGuard and I haven't been out to see you, please let us know. I'd be more than happy to come out, take a look around your shop. It really doesn't cost that much when you're covering expenses. I don't fly first class. I don't eat at 4-star steakhouses unless you're taking me to one. So it's pretty cheap to just cover my expenses and have FFLGuard have boots on the ground in your shop. And during all the flying, what I've been doing is I've been trying to carve down our library. I do hear from a lot of our clients that sometimes our library is too much. There's too many answers. Sometimes they have to comb through to find the answer that they're looking for. And Alexis will get into this in a couple minutes. We'll let her piggyback off of me when I finish off. But we have a new system coming for you guys. Carving down and trying to make our library a lot easier to get through and understand, getting rid of responses dating back to the April 2012 4473 and try and keep them all more current. But one of the things I've noticed in there is we get a lot of questions about NICS. We misspelled the name when we sent it to NICS. We improperly entered the social security number when we did it to NICS. What do we do? How do we fix this? Well, you know how you fix everything you do wrong with NICS? You call NICS. NICS will tell you how to resolve any problems with anything you've done wrong. You put in an improper middle name, you put in an improper serial number. FFLGuard can't guide you. Our response is going to be call NICS and they will guide you through the process to fix. The same goes with your electronic A&D softwares. How do we enter this into our software? How do we do this in our software? Again, we're not your software. We can't tell you how to do something in your electronic A&D or your point of sale. Fastbound, they've been clients of ours for almost a decade now. They're good friends. Chris and I use them ourselves with our FFL. We've known them forever. We know their system inside and out. We still cannot tell you how to do something within Fastbound. You have to get that information from Fastbound or whomever your electronic software may be. If it's something a little more difficult, then your electronic software company can contact us if they are clients. The last thing I want to touch on is, for those of you who don't know who Michelle is, I know you're just seeing her face for the first time the past couple months. Chris and I, being Italians from the Northeast, we have what we call enforcers when we don't get things done that we need done. Michelle is the FFLGuard enforcer. If you are not responding to emails, responding to phone calls, responding to any way FFLGuard is reaching out to you, you're going to get constant daily phone calls from Michelle trying to figure out why you are not responding to us. If you open a ticket with a question in it and we send you a follow-up question within that email, we'll do it 3 times. If you don't respond, you're going to get calls from Michelle. Please respond to us when we're trying to reach out to you. If we're trying to reach out to you, it's because we need something important. We are a law firm at the end of the day. We are your legal compliance team at the end of the day. So you should always want to keep us informed, especially when you get a new FFL, you get a new SOT, you're being inspected. Why wouldn't you want to let us know when you're being inspected? We will walk you through what to expect during the inspection, and Mike will be in touch with you. Avis will be in touch with you. Alexis or I will be in touch with you. Believe me, you don't want to get to the point in an inspection where you have to hear from Chris. If you have to hear from Chris during the inspection, that means you're in trouble.
No, but I will tell you, and people often don't know this. I'm leaning over into the microphone, sorry. But what you don't realize is I do have constant contact with my brother, obviously, and everyone on the team on a day in, day out basis. So I'm often asking, how is the inspection going at so-and-so, even though I'm not actually calling them and talking to them. This is what I freaking pay people for, right? I mean, so I know what's going on. And to me, the most important part of any proceeding, right, with ATF starts at the inspection level. I can't tell you how many administrative actions we've staved off because I've known what's going on during the inspection. And there'll be times where I say, hey, Mike, Mike is my guy, right? I'll say, Mike, call and really find out what's going on here. And so you may hear from Mike, but normally you'll hear from Avis or someone from client relations just to say, how's it going today? Those are really important calls for me, because if we can stop it there, it's so much easier than going to a revocation hearing. And, we do it all the time where we kibosh bullshit at the ground level and never even have to get to an administrative hearing. So that's just a long way of saying, just because you don't hear me calling you personally, I know every inspection that's going on and what's happening. Sorry, dude.
No, you're fine. And right now we have 14 open inspections. So, we try to keep on top of them the best we can. And we always need to know what's going on in your inspection. Even if you have a perfect inspection, let us know. Hey, we had a perfect inspection, no ROV. If you get an ROV, we need that ROV for your file. We need to review it. We need to figure out if there's going to be any sort of administrative action that comes from that report of violations.
We're like a good 12-step program. We work when you work us. So if you have stuff, you're looking at it, you go, I should send this off to FFLGuard. If it has anything to do with ATF or anything, so you know what? Let me put this in my file. This might be important. We're not going to it's impossible to chase you and say, hey, what's going on today? So when you get stuff, send it to us all the time. That's what we have the online portal for, to give you a receptacle to put all your things in.
And if you don't know how to use the online portal, we have a link we can send you. You can set up an appointment with Avis. Avis, and with her kind, sweet little Southern accent, will walk you through how to use it and then hang up the phone with you and say, bless their heart. Right, Avis? Isn't that what you... So, moral of the story, do your inventory, keep us up to date on what's going on in your shop, especially if it has to do with your FFL or ATF. That's what we're here for. That's what you pay us monthly, quarterly, annually for. And get ready for the big announcement that Alexis is going to have for you later in this call.
It's later. Go, Alexis, get after it. What do you got?
Hey, oh, Brian, would you let me share my screen if you don't mind?
Sure, hold on.
As you've been seeing in our weekly e-blast, we are switching over to a new help center. Again, like Brian mentioned, it's going to allow us to cull down a lot of the articles that are available in there, as well as kind of bring you a fresh new look, easier to use, all of those things that we've been asked for. I just wanted to give you a little preview here. When you log in, it's going to have this sort of basic homepage with it. You have an area to go where all of your tickets will be, and again, all sorts of different views and such. The library is still in here. Notice the search is on every page. Recent articles, popular articles, a link to submit a ticket at the bottom of every page. And again, yours will look a little bit different when we finalize this document, but again, you can send us, even format your text, you know, all of those things, add attachments, etc. So all of your old tickets we will be bringing over as well, so you will still have that available to you. That will change. However, how you submit tickets will change. Again, though, it will still suggest your articles, have all of the different things broken out, documents. Again, this gives you a great way. You can just click and go. You can follow certain articles. That way you can know if they change. Just some great new offerings and features in a really simplified process. So you'll be seeing more of all of this in the coming weeks. Don't worry though, we're finalizing a training video, how to log in, how to use it right now, and we'll have that available for everyone, as well as, you know, schedule appointments, all of that to help you with this new process. In addition to the training for how to navigate the new portal and such, we're also working on training, do 4473 training, other documents. So those will be rolling out in the coming months as well. Also, don't forget, there is an upcoming webinar that FFLGuard will be a part of. It is, yes, obviously, all of our digital partners are there. So if you're curious about what Going Digital can do, why we recommend it so much, this is a great way to jump in and kind of hear from everybody in one spot, as well as hear from a retailer that really did it. I think that's one of the most important things, is to talk to someone who's done it. I've worked with many retailers to convert them from paper to digital. FFLGuard has extensive experience with that. So if you have questions, you know, here's a great place to start, but definitely reach back out and we can help you with that. Besides all of our new fun stuff that's coming, there are a couple of other things I wanted to touch on with the group real quick that have things that I've seen that I just wanted to throw out there for you. First of all, secondhand goods are, so when you buy a used firearm from a customer, even if it's new in box, right? Unless they're a dealer selling it to you, that's a secondhand property acquisition. Virtually every place across the United States, secondhand goods are regulated. Typically, you have to have a license for it. There's very specific requirements for data you have to gather from the customer, ways it has to be submitted typically to the local law enforcement within, you know, no later than close of business sometimes. Again, if you're if you're dealing in secondhand firearms, you're buying those firearms, there is likely a regulation, there's likely a licensing process, and you definitely need to know what that is. It varies by area, can vary all the way down to the city or county that you're in. So you can start at the state level, but you'll typically want to get, find out exactly what the local ordinances are as well. That's it. I'll drop the webinar link in our chat. But other than that, let's see. It looks like there may be a couple of questions.
No,
Let's see.
Adam.
Oh, no, it was
put me in
just
the-
you.
Yeah, it was
Sorry.
me responding to Adam saying, good job on using I mean, obviously, if you have an ATF inventory done for you, yeah, that's your latest one, but you gotta get after it next quarter or whenever. So perfectly acceptable to do it that way. There's the link. Alexis just dropped it. I know that we may have accidentally provided the wrong link to come in today. I just happened to check my emails and see a bunch of people. I hope that we got a hold of them in time. But if we didn't, of course, we will always post the call on our YouTube channel for review. And we usually get a lot of hits on that after the fact. So if you want your staff or someone else to see the video, please, let them know that they can catch up on YouTube. I believe we decided that our next call would be October 21. Is that right, Avis?
That is correct.
October 21, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific for our next call. If you need us, please open up a ticket in the help desk. Give us a call. We're always here and ready to help. But otherwise, until next time around, this is Chris, and we will see you in October. Stop the recording.
Oh yeah, that would help, huh? Sorry, I'm too busy busting Troy's balls. I don't know where to go. Oh, I gotta elect to stop sharing.